Consider this before viewing Lord of the Flies. Discuss what you think causes young people to behave violently. As you watch, note what William Golding seems to be saying about evil and human nature. Under what conditions does evil flourish in the novel? Pay attention to the role Golding thinks leaders and civilization play in influencing and controlling our violent tendencies. Assignment Discovery now presents Lord of the Flies.
When Mark Schwebe's was brutally murdered at his Pine Manor home Tuesday night, who could have imagined students at his very own school were involved?
In most every language and culture, childhood and innocence are synonymous. The idea of murderous children is terrifying, frightening because it attacks the very roots of our civilization. Nearly half a century ago, in the aftermath of World War II and the Holocaust, a British schoolmaster wrote an alarming novel about why kids kill, the title of which has today become a catchphrase for experts trying to explain the evidence of evil in children.
When I was asked by a local reporter, Sheriff, what kind of a feel do you have for this particular case? How can something like this happen in our community? And my reaction was that it's almost similar to the Lord of the Flies.
A gang of British schoolboys is accused of attacking and killing a member of their group. The victim, an 8-year-old boy named Simon, apparently suffered from epilepsy. The attack occurred on a remote, deserted island. We have no other information at this time.
That's how a television reporter of today might render the critical event in William Golding's novel Lord of the Flies. It would fit right in with today's real headline. But why was Simon killed? What is the source of such evil? Lord of the Flies opens with another war underway that threatens the use of nuclear weapons. A group of British schoolboys is being flown out of the danger zone when their plane is shot down and crashes, stranding them on a remote, deserted island. What follows is much more than a boy's adventure story. It is a fable with characters symbolizing large, abstract ideas. The first characters we meet are Ralph and Piggy. When he and Ralph find a conch shell on the beach, it is Piggy who thinks to use it to summon other survivors from the plane crash. At the sound of the conch shell, boys emerge from the jungle and make their way towards the noise. Off in the distance, a dark image begins to form and starts moving towards the boys. The strange procession is, in fact, a choir of boys from a different school who were also on the airplane. The leader of the choir
halt!
is Jack.
Where's the man with the trumpet?
Lurking beneath Jack's angelic appearance in his choir robes is someone who despises weaklings and loves ordering others around.
I ought to be chief. I'm chief chorister and head boy. Let's have a vote. All right, we'll have a vote. Who wants Jack for chief then?
Ralph wins. He placates Jack by allowing him to continue to lead the choir. Jack decides that the choir will now be hunters, and so, at a stroke, the devout turn profane, and Golding's sense of irony begins to show through. What appeared to be a sensible political move by Ralph proves dangerous. He has misjudged the aggressive nature of Jack and his lieutenant, a boy named Roger, who harbors a dark side. The novel opens on a positive note. The boys hold a civilized election, and as the elected leader, Ralph institutes order.
You shall have to put our hands up like you did at school. Then I'll give him the conch.
I agree with Ralph. Got to have rules and obey them. After all, we're not savages.
Ralph seems an ideal leader, strong and confident, with an air of authority, just what these parentless kids need. Piggy, intelligent and prudent, becomes in effect Ralph's advisor, and increasingly, his friend. Ralph's top priority is to get rescued, and he instructs the boys to build a signal fire so a passing ship or plane might see the smoke. Lacking matches, they use Piggy's glasses to light the blaze. Golding's symbol for science in the service of humanity. Ralph also tells the boys to build shelters. But all this work gets in the way of having fun. For Jack and his group, that means the hunt. The stage is now set for conflict.
From the beginning, the boys are delighted to have been left on that road. This is wonderful. This is a holiday. We'll have a great time, and in 3 or 4 weeks, we'll be rescued and go back home. In the meantime, we have no teachers, we have no parents, we have nobody to tell us what to do. Wonderful, great. But when darkness comes, kids especially, and little kids more particularly, sometimes get scared.
In the night, some vines move in the wind, and a little boy has a nightmare. The apprehension of dark and unseen things begins to grow.
He wants to know, what are you going to do about the snake thing? Ralph laughed, and the other boys laughed with him. The small boy twisted further into himself. Tell us about the snake thing. Now he says it was a beastie.
Well, the snake, of course, goes back to Genesis. The snake is the evil creature. It's associated in Western culture with the fall, and the island is about a fall. Evil is identified with something out there. And if only we could destroy that evil thing, then we would be at peace.
On the island, the idea of something out there, a beast, a ghost, a monster, looms. Piggy dismisses the idea of such a creature's existence because it isn't rational, but no one listens to him. Ralph calls for order, and Jack promises to hunt down the beast, capitalizing on the fact that the boys are afraid. All except one, Simon.
Simon is epileptic. In pre-scientific, pre-rational traditions, this was regarded as a kind of holy disease, as being touched by God in some way, and that those who were epileptic had some kind of access to truths, to insights denied to the rest of us.
A story born out of the memories of war must now take a violent turn when the hunting begins. The first hunt is a bust. Jack wants to kill but can't. A residue of civilized squeamishness. He makes excuses for his failure, blaming it on the fact that the animal can see him. and hits on the idea of using clay to camouflage himself, to hide the hunter from his prey. It becomes a uniform for all the hunters. Properly camouflaged now, Jack and his hunters won't fail again. Obsessed with hunting, Jack and his hunters neglect the signal fire.
Come back! Come back!
Ralph spots a plane passing nearby.
You should have been with us, Ralph. There was lots of blood. You should have seen it.
There was a plane. There was a plane! They might have seen us. We might have gone home.
Two separate worlds collide here. Ralph is ruled by duty and responsibility, while Jack is consumed with bloodlust, the hunger to hunt. The little democratic society that the boys had constructed begins to divide into two camps. To this explosive combination, Golding adds the fuse. He introduces fear. Once again, the fire is out. Two boys tending it have fallen asleep. They awake to a flapping noise and a dark, looming shape. The beast. There really is a beast. They flee in terror to warn the others.
There were eyes, teeth, claws. We ran as fast as we could, bashed into things. The beast followed us. I saw it slinking behind the trees. Nearly touched me.
Jack suggests they hunt the beast, and Ralph and the bigger boys join him. Fear dogs their every footstep as they search the island. They see something dark and scary. In a moment of sudden panic, Ralph runs, and the other boys follow. Fear now rules the island. Golding isolates the boys on the island to prove just how quickly the controls civilization imposes can break down. Jack and his hunters find another pig, a sow, and they kill it in a scene that suggests genuine depravity. A storm is brewing. Jack and his hunters decide to throw a feast and share the meat from the kill. Everyone has their fill of meat, and they begin chanting and dancing around the fire. Ralph and Piggy join the others in their wild frenzy. The immersion of the self in the passion of the group is an age-old means of unleashing the human capacity for evil.
When the boys are terrified by this appalling thing on top of the mountain, Simon says, climb the mountain. Simon is this kind of mystical insight into the real world, the world beyond this horror, this killing, this murder, this bloodlust. He's also a kind of redeemer figure, and he says, if we keep running away from what frightens us, then we will never overcome it. It will frighten us forever. And the only way to overcome fear is to confront fear.
As fear of the beast grows, Simon climbs the mountain. What he finds is a pathetic visitor from a world at war. The rotting corpse of a downed airman, held fast by the lines of his parachute. Simon charges down the mountain to tell the other boys. On his way, he comes upon a grisly sight that triggers an epileptic convulsion. Jack has mounted the sow's head on a pointed stick as an offering to the beast. In the midst of his seizure, Simon has a vision. This is the Lord of the Flies, and he hears it speak.
There isn't anyone to help you. Only me, and I'm the beast. Fancy thinking the beast was something you could hunt and kill. You knew, didn't you? I'm part of you. Close. Close.
Simon then sees that there is nothing to fear out there, rushes back down the hill to tell the boys that they are indeed saved, that they are redeemed, and meets the fate of all redeemers, is crucified, is torn to pieces by this mob.
The sun rises on a terrible knowledge.
Piggy, that was murder. You stop it. What good are you doing talking like that? It was dark. There was that bloody dance. There was lightning and thunder and rain. We were scared. Anything might have happened. It wasn't what you said.
Piggy is poverty-stricken in his attempt to excuse himself. We all bear our share of responsibility, and the whole point of Lord of the Flies is to drive that lesson home, that even good boys are capable of doing wicked things.
It isn't over. Jack has most of the boys in his camp, but their fire is out again. They swoop down on Piggy and Ralph and steal both their fire and Piggy's fire-making glasses. The stage is set for a final confrontation between Jack and his tribe and Ralph and Piggy, what's left of the democracy Ralph once led.
Which is it better to be? A pack of painted savages like you are? Or sensible like Ralph is? Which is better? To have rules and agree, or to hunt and kill?
Roger, high above them, supplies the answer.
It's the master who gets the right boy by the scruff of the neck and hauls him back. He is God who stops a murder being committed.
Now, when we translate that equation to the world of Lord of the Flies, it's a classroom without a master, and the boys can run amok. And as Roger comes to realize, if there is no God, then everything is permitted. And this, for Roger, comes as the most wonderful of liberations. He can do what he likes, and what he likes to do is to hurt people.
Well, there's always going to be sadists somewhere. It's a not universal, but it's a natural condition. Bullies like bullying. They think about it all the time and practice it in the breaks. They're born that way. They like being that way. They revel in it. And if you're going to have a purposeful universe, you have to take them into account.
This, of course, is Golding's point. To make sure that if the psychopaths are there, they remain as lonely individual deviants, but they don't become presidents or prime ministers or leaders of nations. Because when that happens, when Roger becomes the Führer or the leader of Soviet Russia, then it really does become hell upon earth. Golding is not saying, seek your salvation in the city. The kids are on the island in the first place because their apparently, allegedly civilized fathers have launched this dreadful atomic war. But neither is he saying, seek your salvation in nature. Because the kids go back to this paradisial nature and they turn it into a miniature reflection of that awful life that their fathers are living back there. The evil can take place anywhere because the evil is intrinsic to the human being as a human being.
Golding explained it this way. We are born with evil in us, and cruelty is a part of this. That cruelty can be unleashed, even in children, explaining just why it is that so many children have become violent or killers, monsters. Golding said, if there is no one around to guide children, then they go wrong. He believed that the cruelty that lies latent in all of us flourishes when two conditions are present: fear and chaos. Chaos now reigns on the island. Ralph is the enemy and fears for his life. He is hunted, stalked like one of the pigs. The hunters use Piggy's glasses to start one more fire, to smoke out their prey. And soon, the fire rages out of control. Science now in the service of maniacs. At the last minute, only seconds away from being impaled on the spear, Ralph stumbles on the beach at the feet of a man in uniform.
This little circle of boys who had been demons, who suddenly shrivel and become a lot of little snot-nosed, dirty kids who need a good bath. Golding is showing that what has gone on in this island has been the direct result of a loss of adult authority. Now, if we translate that to our world, what is going on in our world? Who is going to save us? The boys can be saved by one adult stepping ashore. But where is the God who is going to step on the shore of our world and put an end to all the nasty nonsense which is in danger of leaving us all incinerated or dead?
God is absent from Golding's island, and good has suffered at the hands of evil. Rescued now, Ralph finally breaks down and weeps.
Ralph wept for the end of innocence, the darkness of man's heart, and the fall through the air of the true, wise friend called Piggy.
Keep watching. Discussion topics and activity and resources for Lord of the Flies are up next on Assignment Discovery. Now that you've seen Lord of the Flies, talk about this. Discuss what Golding appears to be saying about the intrinsic nature of boys and the role of adult authority. Do you think the novel would have been different if there had been one adult on the island? What might have happened if the novel had been about a group of stranded girls rather than boys? Now try this. Locate recent news stories about violence in schools and among teens. What explanation do these stories give about why kids are motivated to commit violent acts? What is your theory? Log on to DiscoverySchool.com for curriculum materials and resources to support Lord of the Flies. To learn more, Assignment Discovery suggests Cruise. Gang members talk to Maria Hinojosa by Maria Hinojosa.